So what I'm getting ready to show you is from 2015, March 23rd, a Public Safety Committee meeting. This is Carl Smart talking about a case investigation at 1025 Lott Avenue. This is very typical Carl Smart standing in front of a city committee and lying to protect himself and his department. Let's watch this video and I'll narrate and stop as we go along.
Now, the two cases that I think this committee is going to look at tonight, 1025 Lott Avenue and the other one, you will hear from the property owners about their property. The other one is 7001 Isabel Drive. I'll try to give you a quick summary. Both of these cases have been closed. The first one here, 1025 Lott Avenue, was opened in 2010 and closed in 2011. It actually closed before I got here. And I'm not trying to do a disclaimer and just saying the fact was I was not here during the handling of this case. But I've looked back and researched the handling of the case and looked through the file to see what happened with 1025 Lott Avenue. And the first thing that happened, we got a complaint, and we responded to the complaint. That was October the 28th in 2010. The second thing, that we made an inspection from off complaint. That was October the 28th in 2010. The second thing, that we made an inspection from off-site. We could not get on the property.
Okay, this is very important. He just said he made an inspection from off-site. His slide shows they were off-site on 1028. He said that they did not go on the property.
The owner did not allow for an inspection on the property. And I think we've talked before a little bit about we have the right of entry. The code gives us the right of entry for the purpose of enforcing the codes and ordinances that the council passes. However, we still must be cognizant of the constitutional rights that property owners have to deny code officers access to their property.
Okay, he just admitted that they have to have permission to come on the property.
Say, you can't come in, we can't come in, we don't come in. And the only way that we can go in and do that inspection is by a warrant issued by the judge, issued by the court. And that's what happened in this case. There were 5 attempts made at an on-site inspection, and neither they were denied by the owner every time, or the owner wasn't there, and the inspection work was not done.
That's a lie. Let's go quickly to the case log, and I'll show you. Here's the same case log that Mr. Smart just told everybody that he reviewed, and you can see it has the 1025 Lott Avenue, Ryan Reed, October 28th date, complaint, new addition at rear of property, working without a permit. And this is a pergola, a very small little gazebo thing, and didn't require any permits. Again, this is one neighbor pissed off at another neighbor and using code. So Chris Maldonado is the young man who did this, and these are a little bit out of order. On 1028, he says he posted a stop work order at the front door. And again, Mr. Smart says they weren't allowed on the property. 1028, Chris Maldonado says verified new gas line at the exterior serving barbecue gas grills, shed on the side and rear of the setback at right side of property, flagpole in the front, has no permit, new detached addition at rear, over height limit, took photos. Mr. Smart said they didn't do an inspection on this day, but what happened was nobody was home, so Chris Maldonado trespassed onto this guy's property and started taking photos. The property owner, now Chris Maldonado claims that the property owner called and agreed to remove the flagpole. These are all lies. Chris Maldonado just falsified his case log all the way through here. Chris Maldonado on 12/15 said he went to the site, no one home, unable to view rear of property because gates were locked. Again, Chris Maldonado has laid this all out in his case log, but Carl Smart told the council members they never got on the thing, that they were denied, and that's why they had to go get the search warrant. This is all a rack of lies, because Carl Smart realized that back then, that his code employee, Chris Maldonado, had trespassed onto somebody else's property without the owner's permission and started to do an investigation. And that's not the first time. Chris Maldonado continues to do this. Let's take a look at Chris's photos and I'll demonstrate that Chris was on site on the 28th. Okay, these are the photos I obtained through open records. And this is the stop work order notice that he put on the front door. Here's the address. Here's the pirate flag. Here's the front yard. And of course, all of these things can be seen in what is called the public view. This is not within the public view. You can see that he is straight away, and now he's taking photos of this guy's property from not the front door and not from the street. This is the backyard. The side yard. This is the side yard again. Mr. Maldonado is trespassed onto private property and is taking photos. This is not hooked up to the gas line in any way. And again, this is the backyard. These photos could have only been taken by trespassing onto the property. A couple pygmy goats. And we're back to the thing. So it's very clear that somebody did come onto the property. Mr. Carl Smart knows this, but Mr. Carl Smart lied to the council members to make it sound like this guy was not complying, and the homeowner was just fed up with it and finally told him, "You're not stepping foot on my property." Let's look at some of his testimony.
Could you please come forward and that be followed by Stephanie Trim?
Here's Mr. Reed's testifying on March 23rd of 2015.
Thank you, council members. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Carl, for giving a review of my case on 1025 Lot Avenue. His facts are going to agree almost entirely with mine. You will notice in his timeline there was a 6-month gap that he kind of omitted. I'm going to hopefully fill in that gap. I want to read my statement. I don't want to miss any of the details. But I'm born and raised in Austin, graduated from UT, local business owner. My parents are local business owners, own a house in East Austin. I consider myself an Austinite. On April 13th, 2011, the Code Compliance Department and Austin Police Department conducted a joint search and seizure raid on my private residence and property. The search was conducted by 2 code enforcement officers wearing bulletproof vests, backed by a unit of 5 police officers. The search occurred completely off the record, utilizing an expired warrant issued by a substitute judge. They left empty-handed, but told me that they would be back. I captured the entire thing on video, which I'm going to share some snippets of in a bit. So what happened? 6 months prior, in October 2010, Code Compliance investigator Chris Maldonado responded to an anonymous tip there was livestock on my property. He arrived to find a few pet pygmy goats and some small pigs. These were not code violations or even under the jurisdiction of code compliance, but Maldonado didn't exactly want to leave empty-handed, so he started a case. And he found 4 other suspected violations. Those were a flagpole that was in my front yard. There was a backyard barbecue that he said looked like it might be connected to the gas line. There was a backyard tool shed that he said looked like it might be too close to the fence. And there was a backyard gazebo that was under construction that he said looked like it might be too tall. So he listed these violations out on a stop work order posted to my door. I got home, found the stop work order, and took it very seriously. The attached letter indicates that a stop work order acts as a sort of lien on the property, that I can't sell or rent my house until it is cleared. It also threatened that if I didn't clear the violations within 7 days, I would be subject to $2,000 per day fines. There is a paragraph in there about an appeals process. It's very unclear. I was not familiar with the code compliance, so what I did was what I thought was the appeals process. So I began these corrective actions. I pulled the barbecue away from the house so you could see, hey, it's not connected to anything. I pulled the tool shed that required 5 feet, so that was a violation, and I brought it into compliance. The gazebo was well under the dimensions, and I started contacting zone reviewers about all of these questions. I talked to separate zone reviewers. I got their emails. I got them saying, yeah, you're totally good. I thought that would be fine. The flagpole is actually totally fine. The code investigator simply misinterpreted the code in that instance. So I submitted all of this information to the investigator. I heard no response. The 7-day period passed. 3 months passed before I would hear back from the code investigator.
So it becomes very clear. This is very complicated, but Carl Smart lied. This guy is, as you can see, is well educated. He's an engineer over at the university. has a degree, and he got swept up, and this thing was totally mishandled. But to this date, Carl Smart will not admit that code inspectors trespassed onto property, and he lies. He lies to the council about facts and rearranges things to make it sound differently. Mr. Ryan Reed here actually writes a letter later on to the council and said, "Hey, listen, I'm done. I've had police come into my house," and in fact, he's living in Oregon now. He came in last year and talked about this, but he left Austin. Is this really what we want? Is this how Carl Smart should act?